Well, I did it. I decided to buy a 1/6 scale statue because I figured, you know what? It can't look that small next to 1/4 pieces, right? Where'd it go?
I can't see it! I can't see it!
To give back to you guys, the Extreme Channel is giving away this giant Goro statue from PCS for our 20,000 sub giveaway. If you want to know how to win this, I'll tell you a little bit later in this video. Everyone, thanks for tuning in. Today we're looking at this 1/6 scale Green Lantern exclusive from Tweeterhead. Now, if you don't know who Green Lantern is, I'm not really sure why you're here, unless you're just here to see me, baby. Green Lantern is from DC Comics. He's a good guy. He's a human being, depending on which version you're looking at. Hal Jordan. And he becomes one of the peacekeepers of the galaxy with a magic ring that, using his will or his kind of mind and strength, he can construct or create anything he wants, which is a pretty cool power. I think Green Lantern's pretty underrated, even though I haven't been really big into him in the comics. Now, the reason that I purchased him is I actually have a custom 1/4 scale Sinestro piece coming in. This right here. Hopefully. I was supposed to be shipped and I haven't heard back from the commissioner and I'm getting a little bit worried. However, I wanted a Green Lantern to pair with him. I've actually wanted a Green Lantern statue for about 4 or 5 years now, but there's never been one that I really fancy, especially in the 1/4 scale. Now, when we talk about scales like 1/4 or 1/6, that means if you took a real-life version and you shrunk it down, how many times smaller would it be than the real-life version? 1/6 is 6 times smaller, 4, and so forth. So I don't like any of the licensed pieces out there, and I don't think there's ever been an amazing custom piece that had an awesome construct like this. So I had an opportunity to jump on the exclusive of this piece, even though he's been out for a few months, and I thought, you know what? How bad can 1/6 look next to 1/4? Well, as you saw in the intro, I definitely need to figure something out because it just doesn't pair well, in my opinion. However, I absolutely love this piece. You know, I have one other Tweeterhead piece. I've actually reviewed it right here, this Pennywise, and I was really impressed with that. So I figured, you know, amazing concept. This is exactly what I want in a Green Lantern other than the scale. Why don't you go ahead and pull the trigger? I got it at retail, and here he is. So let's kick it off with the traditional review style, and we're going to start with concept, and this is where this piece really shines. In my opinion, it is probably the best Green Lantern concept of a statue that I've ever seen. Now, what's really cool is the base is made up of the construct. Not only is it made up of the construct, but I love that it's almost this translucent green, and he has created this huge, big-ass Gatling gun or guns to battle his enemy, and he's actually standing on it. In the exclusive version, you can actually see he has the ammo coming from his ring connecting to the gun, and he's standing upon it very proud, very stoic. You know, one thing with Green Lantern, it's all about his will. So he has to be a guy that doesn't really bend to his emotions too much. And I think they show that in the stance of the statue. As you move up, you see he's holding the lantern in his left hand, which is where his ring gets the power from. And again, that portrait is such a cool, stoic representation of Hal Jordan. So I absolutely love it. I think the base makes this piece. However, Green Lantern himself has done really well as well. Really well as well. He's done good. He's good. So, concepts is a 5 out of 5. I give it an X. I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer. That's why I bought this statue, and the execution is fantastic, Tweeterhead. Let's look at the design of the piece. As I said, he's 1/6 scale, so let's actually measure him. So in theory, if you have a 6-foot-tall character, they should be about 12 inches. So he is a little over 16.5 inches because he's standing on the base. The widest point is probably the base itself, about 8 inches. And the deepest point, the front of the guns, is about 9.5 or so. Now let's look how he came out of the box and assembled. Fairly small box as you'd expect it to be, but it was packed really well. Tweeterhead always does an interesting art box. I'm not a big art box guy, but it's cool that they do that. It was one layer, packed extremely well, no breakages or anything of that nature, and here is everything uncovered from the wax paper. So everything fit together fantastic. Props to Tweeterhead. So there are a few display options. First, on his left hand, he can be holding the lantern, which to me is a no-brainer. But if you don't like that, he can have just a normal hand. Now, if you got the exclusive like I did, it comes with this piece right here. And I think this is an exclusive or bust statue. Or the regular version and this version, they all come with just showing his ring. Which, the nice part about this, you actually see the ring where you really can't see it right here. Like I said, they made 60 of the exclusive. That said it on the bottom. I'm not sure what the edition size was of the regular, though. You know, so I looked at all the 1/4 Green Lanterns out there. I didn't like any of them. I did like the XM Studios 1/6, and I've actually seen that in person, but I really much prefer a more translucent resin on the construct. So that's why I went with Tweeterhead. Plus, it's about 1/3 of the price when you add in shipping. So really, the only issue with this, at least for me, is the fact that it's 1/6 scale, and it won't pair well. I'm going to have to become really creative. And this is where I'm asking for you guys' help. Put in the comments below how I can creatively pair him with other 1/4 Justice League and against that 1/4 Sinestro, whether it's from across the room or something of that nature. I've actually recently reached out to my members. I did a behind-the-scenes video for XXX members on their suggestions on how I could do this. If you're interested in what that is, go ahead and check out the join button or the link in the description below. But if you're a 1/6 collector, this is actually perfect. So regarding the design, I think it's a 5 out of 5. I can't think of anything I would improve or change if you were specifically collecting 1/6. Now, a lot of people ask, well, why didn't they do it in 1/4? The licensor may not have allowed them to do it. However, if this was 1/4, in my opinion, it would be the best Green Lantern statue of all time. But how is the paint and sculpt on this piece? That's what we're going to look at now. So we're going to look at some video, and there's not really a lot going on because there's not a lot to look at, and the construct is all translucent resin. But let's take a look. All right, so let's start with the construct down here. First of all, I love the sculpt on it. This is an incredibly cool piece. There's a lot of detail in it. When considering it's a translucent all green resin, I think is pretty impressive. Really like what they did. You can see a little bit of the connection pieces in there from the factory, but I can get past that. And I love the amount of clearness or translucency or transparency that they actually used in this. You can technically see right through it, which is exactly to me how a construct would be. And as I said, this is kind of the star of the show. I absolutely love it. And even look at the ammo coming up here. The curve of it fits fantastic, goes right into his ring. Now, even though, like I said, this is kind of the star of the show, they did a really nice job with Green Lantern as well. So let's talk about his anatomy first. I think they did a great job not overemphasizing anything because he is a fit guy, but he's not over-muscularized, and you can see those muscles through his suit. Now, his suit is skin tight. And they did a little over shading on it. You see a little too much shading in my opinion, but nothing that I can't get over. And the paint is incredibly clean. There's no bleed over on anything. See, there's a little bit more of that shading. That would be America's ass in my opinion. Then I like, even though there's so much green on the statue, the green varies from the construct to the lantern to the outfit. So they did a nice job varying that out so it's not overpowering. You ever wonder why some superheroes have white gloves? They have to get dirty instantly. The Green Lantern symbol. Now let's look at his portrait. Now keep in mind, harder to get details. I think the portrait's good. It's not great. You know, his expression, very stoic as we talked about in concept, because he doesn't need to be angry or powerful or anything like that. They could have differentiated the strands a little bit in the hair. It's a little bit harder to do in this smaller scale. I like the mask. This is a great representation of Hal Jordan, I think. Overall, just really solid on the paint and sculpt. Very impressed. So as I said, really impressive. Let's start with the sculpt. I think they did a very nice job. One thing to remember, the smaller the scale, the harder it is to get some of those details in there. I think it's a 4 out of 5 on the sculpt. I really like the construct. I think they did a nice job with Green Lantern himself. Very impressed. Paint, incredibly clean. They did a very nice job with the details on it. I really couldn't find one paint flaw at all on this piece. So I thought I saw one right there when I was brushing it off. I think the paint's also a 4 out of 5. Really well done, Tweeterhead. Now, is this an X statue? Is it a 5 out of 5? Without question, this would be a 5 out of 5 if it was 1/4 scale. It would be a 6 out of 5 if that was even possible in my mind, because I absolutely freaking love this. So, I'm not going to give it a 5 out of 5 because the scale kills me. If you're a 1/6 scale collector, this is probably a 5 out of 5 statue for you. For me, it's a 4 out of 5. And I'm going to figure out some incredibly creative way to display him against 1/4 pieces where it doesn't look stupid. Again, I ask for you to help me out with those comments below. To win this Goro statue, first thing you got to do is make sure you've liked this video, you've actually subscribed to the channel, and you've hit that bell notification. Second thing is leave a comment below, and make sure it's a witty, entertaining, or funny comment. Because when we hit 20,000 subscribers, I'm going to pick a random video, and the comment that has the most likes on it will be the winner of this Goro statue. So make sure your comment is entertaining to others and entertaining to Mr. X. Because if I like it, I'm actually going to pin it to the tops to help you get more likes. But thanks for tuning in, guys. Hit that like on the way out. Check out some of these other pieces from Sideshow Collectibles. I really appreciate you watching. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.